Hello and welcome into your Game 2 review for the Bruins 2019 Stanley Cup Playoffs second round series against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And this is one of the more frustrating games I've seen as a fan this playoff so far. And I'm going to rip my team in a little in this video. But don't get me wrong, Columbus, you deserved the win tonight. I'm not going to say it any other way. You guys were the better team and you deserved it. You guys didn't nearly shoot yourselves in the foot as much as my team did. What's the first thing I want to get to here? Because I have some notes on the side before I go goal to goal to goal. I got some tweets here that I'll go over. The first thing, turnovers, man. This team is a turnover machine. They're literally like a bakery with how many turnovers they're creating. But it's just pathetic, really, how they pass around their own zone. There's no excuse for laziness when it comes to passing. It's not like their legs are tired. It's your arms. You're using your arms. There's no excuse like you haven't had days off in a while. This is just pathetic mental laziness on the part of the Bruins. They were less sharp than Columbus. That was very apparent. I think the Bruins only had maybe one period where they were better than Columbus. The rest, I thought Columbus was better. And that would be the first period, which, maybe the rest did come into factor there because after the first period, they're gassed. Meanwhile, Columbus is more fresh. And I was thinking Columbus was going to be better in this game. I kind of suspected Columbus might win this game too because the Bruins were probably going to rest back because the Bruins haven't been very consistent with being able to win back-to-back games. It seems like they don't want to win until their backs are against the walls, and they have to. It's just very frustrating the way this team, the stars on this team have been playing lately. Just kind of pathetic. Marchand, afterthought in this game. Pastrnak, lucky goal off the foot. Bergeron, penalty that leads to the game winner for Columbus. It's just a lot of frustration. Like, a lot of dumb stuff went on in this game. And the one thing that everyone's ripping into is Pastrnak. Like he's the only one making turnovers. He is pretty glaring out there, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot more than just him. A lot of people are speculating if he's injured. I don't know if that's the case. I think it might just be his confidence. Maybe it is a little injury. I don't think so, though. I think it's his confidence right now. I don't think he believes in himself. Pastrnak in the regular season was a turnover machine. Just got covered up because he was bailed out by his teammates a lot. There's a reason why we were one of the top teams in shorthanded goals against. Him running the point, kind of sloppy with the puck sometimes when he's off. When he's on, beautiful, but he hasn't been on lately at all this playoffs except for Game 3 of the first round. Dumb penalties, that's another thing. 2 penalties in overtime. Clear as a day. The ref's going to call those every time. The ref was trying to let them play. He didn't want to call these calls, but when you trip a guy in front of their own net, if he doesn't call that and Jones stays down longer and Bergeron gets the puck, he could put it in the Columbus Blue Jackets net, and then that looks really bad on the ref. What was the other one? I have it right here. I believe it was Chara, right? Another trip where he just hacked the guy down. Yeah, Chara. Oh, Charlie McAvoy, high sticking Matt Duchene, hits him right in the face. The Chara one was in the, where was that one? Chara was in the second period, my bad. McAvoy high sticks him. Duchene, yeah, a little bit of embellishing, but where's that stick? It's right under his visor. They're calling that every freaking time. What else is there? It felt like Columbus was going to win after the second Panarin goal, after that god-awful turnover by Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle with a great move to get the goal for David Pastrnak earlier, wipes that right away and turns momentum right back in the favor of Columbus with an awful turnover straight to Seth Jones. We'll get to that one later. Any other notes I haven't hit on? Goalies are on point. That's one thing. You can't really fault Tuukka. Not sure any of these goals were really his fault. Also, Bobrovsky had the worst goal against tonight. That Grizzlick shot. That had no business going in the net. Overpassing, I forgot to mention that. If you look in the top right to the right of my head, you'll see Jake DeBrusk with a clear one-on-one with Bobrovsky. And what does he do? A drop pass. What the... Trying to hold off on swearing too much, but what in the... I can't even. What was that? Like, look at him. And he passes it. Go 5-hole. Go top shelf. Backhand. Forehand. Anything but that. It's too tight. Probably thought he was all alone behind him, which he shouldn't have. Anything else? That looks like all I have for these opening thoughts. Just a very frustrating game because it felt like we shot ourselves in the foot a lot. This game went to overtime despite all the crap that the Bruins were doing. They still almost won. Columbus deserved it. They definitely played a better game. Columbus sits back more. There's a reason they didn't have an odd man rush until like the first overtime, I think. They're not letting the Bruins get anything easy, and the Bruins are making it a lot harder on themselves than it has to be. Another difference, Columbus's stars are putting points on the board. Meanwhile, we're relying on Charlie Coyle to do everything, which that's not the best strategy in the world, even though Charlie Coyle has been clutch so far, minus that turnover. One blemish doesn't take down his whole playoff resume so far. Yeah, that's all I have for the intro. If you want to look at these tweets, you got 2 horrendous defensive zone turnovers, 2 goals. Patrice Bergeron taking ownership of the tripping penalty. Bergeron obviously would. He's a class act. He knows when he messes up, and that's there. Got to move forward. You got to. Bergeron has half of the Bruins' faceoff wins, 11 of 22. The Bees, even when winning the puck, aren't making the simple play, passing up the first chance to shoot and seeing the second chance efforts either intercepted on the pass or shot blocked. That was Jack Edwards. The first 2 were Pete Blackburn and then Joe Haggerty. ETD, a fan account. You guys remember David Pastrnak? I remember when David Pastrnak was effective, and he needs to get back to it. Him and Jake DeBrusk are the biggest X factors on the Bruins, and both of them need to get their crap together, or this team won't win a Stanley Cup. If they get their crap together, higher chance of us winning a Stanley Cup. Nothing's given. Ty Anderson tweeted a quote from Cassie. To me, Pastrnak is too indecisive right now. That's obvious. Says he needs to play through it. That's questionable. Noted there's only so much you can do with the personnel. They moved him all around the 3 top centers. They were interchanging him everywhere, trying to get him going. Nothing will work. But hope remains that he plays his way out of this. There's a part of me that wants to see him benched, but there's another part of me that knows he's a very sporadic player. He could go off in Game 3 for all we know, so you do have to leave him in. But regular season, his ass is getting benched. Let's move on to the goals. One thing I will say about this, the Bruins have yet to lose back-to-back games this playoffs. Obviously, neither has Columbus because they've only played 6 games and they have 1 loss. Just a frustrating game, man. It was a winnable game. 2-2 overtime on home ice, and now you got to go to Columbus, which I'll get into my thoughts on that at the end. But let's go over the first goal. Grzelcyk coming down from the point takes a shot. This is a cupcake goal that Bobrovsky should have. Granted, it's a hard shot by Grzelcyk, but it just hits the bottom of Bobrovsky's glove. It's on the power play. Let me check who went to the penalty box. I think it was Anderson. Yeah, Josh Anderson, the first period, 6:29 left, interferes with Carlo. I thought it was interference. Definitely wouldn't have been called if that happened in overtime, though, I don't think. No, maybe it did. It did take out 2 players at the time, so they might have. It might have been the same logic with the Bergeron trip where, well, if something happens and you look back at that call. So that may actually be called in overtime. Should probably bite my tongue on that one. But the Bruins capitalized on the power play. That would be their only power play goal of the night. Good on Matt Grzelcyk. He right now is the leading defensive scorer for the Bruins. Let me check what his point total is at the moment. I believe it should be 8. I want to say 7 or 8. I want to say now because that's his first goal. And I think he has 5 or 6 assists. 28. Okay, that's 5 points. So I was overshooting that, but still, I believe he's higher than Krug at the moment. Panarin earlier in the second period would get the puck on the power play. I believe this was the Chara trip. No. Oh, no, this was the end of the first period. Brad Marchand gets cross-checking against Alexander Teixeira. And, if you could find that penalty for me, I never saw it. It happened at the end of the period in a scrum. I came back from intermission. I was hanging out with some friends. I noticed they were on the penalty kill. Didn't really see what happened. It's Marchand, though. He probably did something extra. But I do remember seeing part of the scrum, and it did seem like it was going both ways. So I was a little surprised to see that. Anyway, Columbus capitalizes. As you can see in the top right-hand picture, the Bruins, there's 2 defensemen covering 1 guy in front of the net. Seth Jones is a little outside of the view on the left of the picture. You can't see him. This leaves Columbus with numbers up top, which lets them tee up a one-timer. Brandon Carlo recognizes it too late. He tries to get over to Panarin. Panarin receives the pass from Jones, one-times it, places it perfectly on the inside post. Rask can't get over in time, and the Columbus Blue Jackets tie it 1-1. But nonetheless, Charlie Coyle to the rescue right after. Power skating through the zone, backhands it on into the front of the net, hits off of David Pasternak's skate, and this is the only way David Pastrnak was going to do anything effective tonight was if a puck hit him and went in the net, and it just happened to do it off his skate and in the net past Bobrovsky. Not much Bobrovsky could do there. Great play by Coyle to take it around the net instead of going just right to the front and to bank it off someone. Really smart play there. Johansson gets the assist. Coyle and Johansson. By far, the best line is the Bruins' third line. It doesn't matter who you put with Coyle and Johansson. I kind of want to see Kuhlman there. I think that's the best option for them to put there. I think you go first line, Bergeron, Marchand, Heinen. Second line, DeBrusk, Krejci, Pasta. Third line, Kuhlman, Coyle, Johansson. I'm not positive off the top of my head who I just took out of the lineup. So you got Wagner, Nordstrom, Corrali, Achari. Yeah, I benched Nordstrom. Something like that. I don't really care about the fourth liners. They're not playing a lot to begin with. Bench Achari. That might actually be the best one. Nordstrom's been decent this playoffs. No, bench Wagner. What am I talking about? Bench Chris Wagner, run Nordstrom, Achari, Corrali. That's a good line right there. And, I mean, Wagner hasn't done for anything for us. A double overtime game, he plays 13:48. Get Kuhlman in there. He brings fresh legs, good skater, and he'll complement Johansson and Coyle well, in my opinion. Panarin would then, again, get the Blue Jackets right back at it in the second period again, later in the second period. I think all of this happened in the span of 8 minutes, I want to say. Charlie Coyle working at the bakery, making turnovers. As you can see in the top right-hand corner picture, Charlie Coyle has a puck there. You might not be able to see the puck because his stick's black, but the puck's on the back of his stick. I think it just left it, actually. Now, in the picture in the bottom right, you can see Seth Jones receiving the puck. Yeah, who was the pass to? That's my only question. What was the logic there? There's no one pressuring Coyle, as you can see, because the drop pass there, I can't see what that is through the numbers, but it looks like 9 or 8's on him, so that's Werenski or Panarin. No one's on Coyle here. He doesn't have to make a pass there. He makes the pass there to Jones right there, and you see Panarin in the bottom right picture is lurking. So the Bruins defenseman right there goes to Jones to kind of cut off the shot angle, because it's 2-on-1. And the pass to Panarin. Panarin waits out Rask a little. Rask is down because he thinks Jones is shooting. And Rask isn't going to get to that post. And that's a perfectly placed shot by Panarin. I think people are kind of overreacting to Rask not saving that. That is like bar height the whole way of the flight. There's really zero chance for Rask to get it, even if he is hugging the post. I think it still goes over Rask. Beautiful shot by Panarin. And Panarin is playing like the superstar he is. Would have been nice if one of our superstars could have gone on the board tonight. Seth Jones, also a superstar. What a great defenseman Seth Jones is. I think he played 38 minutes tonight. Yeah, he's a stud. I love Seth Jones. I just like watching him play. He's everything you want in a defenseman. He's playing like Victor Hedman should have. Duchesne overtime winner. We'll jump to that. On the power play because, as I mentioned, Bergeron takes a tripping call. Obvious, clear as day. They're going to give it to you 9 out of 10 times, maybe 10 out of 10 times. And shot from Panarin. Who else? Another point for Panarin. 3-point night for him. Rebound. No one's on Duchesne. Carlo and Chara. No one's covering him. The first power play goal that Panarin got, you saw 2 of them were covering the front of the net. Now none of them are covering the net. That's fantastic. And Duchesne does a little skate-to-stick move to get Rask's 5-hole open. Tough to blame Tuukka Rask there. You got a silky smooth hand guy like Matt Duchesne there. And he puts a 5-hole to give the Blue Jackets the win that they deserved because they didn't shoot themselves in the foot, take 2 overtime penalties. They didn't have nearly as many turnovers. And, they just were better. And most of the second half of the game, which is the part that mattered more. Post-game stats, Blue Jackets outshot us by 10. Face-offs didn't really matter because we didn't do much with that possession. Power plays, Blue Jackets got 1 more power play goal. Hits, Blue Jackets slightly out-hit us. Blocks, Blue Jackets slightly out-blocked us. Giveaways, the Bruins obviously have more, and I don't think they track that stat right. I never think that. I think it's always too low. Takeaways, 13 to the Bruins 12. That didn't really have much of an effect. As you can see, shots 9-6 in favor of Columbus in the first period, 10-7 in favor of Columbus in the second, 7-8 in favor of Boston in the third. First overtime, 10-10, and a great whopping 0 in the third overtime. The second overtime, my bad. The second overtime only lasted 3:42, and as you can see, 5 shots in 3:42. Probably has to do with the power play as well. But, Columbus, congratulations on tying the series up. This was a big game for you guys. If you lose this game and you went down 2-0, would have been real hard to fight back from. Not saying you wouldn't have. As you can see, just the penalties, all of them are pretty bad on Boston's part. Brad Marchand probably did something extra. I'm assuming he deserved it because Brad Marchand does some after the whistle antics, and sometimes refs are going to crack down on it. Plus, it's so unnecessary to do more there because you're at the end of the period and it's in between. It's not in between the whistles, so you cost your team there, Brad. Man, it's just such a sloppy night. This is more frustrating than any of the games against the Leafs because this game was so winnable if the Bruins just got their shit together. As you can see, Tugi right there, he streams NHL 19. Good streamer if you want to check him out. Can't hate on that result. Bruins didn't capitalize on their OT chances. I do agree with that. There was a decent amount of chances in the OT. Both teams had them, but when you have the chances, you got to put them away. And Columbus put theirs away before the Bruins put theirs away. Is there really anything else to talk about? 3 stars. Duchesne got the overtime winner. Bobrovsky made some huge saves. Tuukka Rask deserves that 3rd star. If the Bruins want to be successful, the Stars, Bergeron, Marchand, Pastrnak are going to have to start playing like their stars. Point production-wise, Bergeron and Marchand can be great two-way players, but if you're not putting points up the board, we're not going to get to the Cup final, which is ultimately the goal. Defensively, I don't really think the defense was too shaky for the Bruins. I think it was just a lot of turnovers by the team collectively. Char only played 28 minutes. 3 defensemen got over 30 for the Bruins. Carlo at 32.50, I believe he led. Krug 32, and McAvoy 30-39. I'd like to see a little more Grzelcyk. I think he's been fantastic this postseason. Very good skater. Maybe even more Clifton. Clifton only played about 16:56. I think Clifton could hold his own, and I think there's good reason to give him more ice time. Game 3 is on Tuesday at, I want to say 8 p.m. or 7:30? 7 p.m. And NBC Sports Network, I'm not sure if it's on NESN. I bet a lot of people don't really care. And really, the Bruins Stars just need to get it going for this team to win, because Columbus is beatable. If they keep playing their good defensive game, it's going to be a lot harder to do it. But the Bruins, I think, are the better team, and they're just not playing like it. Columbus is playing like the better team in the second game. But the Bruins should be able to get their shit together. And it's just frustrating because this team's capable of so much more than what they've done. I don't even think they were that impressive against the Leafs in the playoffs. I just think they slightly out-toughed them, out-willed them, I think is what it was, than they were playing good hockey. But, man, they just haven't looked the greatest against the Blue Jackets offensively. Just sloppy in the first 2 games. I'm hoping the third game is a change. But as I said, the Bruins have yet to lose back-to-back games, and they respond really well to losses. So I'm interested to see. Luckily, the 2-day break in between games 2 and 3 is huge. So hopefully some players that need to get some rest get some much-needed rest, because this is the longest break the Bruins have had since the end of the regular season and the start of the first game of the playoffs against Toronto, which I think was 4 days, something like that. So these 2 days are huge to get some legs, because you could tell later in the game that Columbus was just skating a little bit faster. That's all I have time for you today. Hopefully Game 3 is a little more positive of a review. Hopefully Pastrnak and DeBrusk show up a little better. Hopefully Marchand shows up. Hopefully Bergeron shows up a little better and shows up on the score sheet. But if you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment to talk about the Bruins with me, leave a comment down below. Hit the subscribe button if you like my coverage on the channel of the Bruins Hockey. That's all I have for you today. Have a great week, and I'll see you for Game 3 review. Peace.